Vikings, they lose their second game in 5 days after a brutal loss. Final score in LA, 30-20. Breaking it all down next. Locked On Vikings postcast.
You are Locked On Vikings postcast, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Vikings postcast episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. Gophers legend Ron Johnson, Sam Ekstrom, host of the Minnesota Football Party. Maybe, just maybe, Luke Braun, host of Locked On Vikings, joining us a little bit later on. He's at the site, live, SoFi Stadium. Maybe we'll get him in segment 2. Tons to get into, fellas, and I mean tons, but quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Crossover Thursdays Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to win $50 instantly when you play just $5 on any wager. Okay, Ron, the bit died last week, as you know, when we lost to Detroit. But now in a span of, 5 days, this team has gone from 5-0 to 5-2. I know we got lots to touch on, but first and foremost, just kick us off. What's the headline read tomorrow morning? Where did things go wrong for the Vikings tonight?
I can't find the next win.
Yeah.
Like I
really
knew it.
I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah.
Like where's the next win going to come from? Because the Colts are a good team. It's prime time. It felt like, this was an easy way, but all of a sudden this defense is getting exposed and teams know now we can just throw the ball. Like the cornerbacks, if they go man, they just don't have an opportunity to really, like Byron Murphy is okay. But Gilmore looked, and maybe it's just the Sunday to Thursday turnaround, and I pray that's it. The offense did all they could. I know there was 2 drives, I think, after the first 2 touchdowns. The next 2 drives were very confusing. Like the first plays out the gate seemed like it was like, let me show let me show my teacher what I've learned. And he just tried too much. It's like, going against your sensei and you want to show him your new karate flip, kick, back, turn. Just run the ball. Like run the dang ball. And so for me, that's the headline is like, I hope the next game is a win, but now I don't know.
Yeah, 19 carries for Aaron Jones, man. They tried 58 yards, though, 3.1 average on the ground. They tried, just couldn't really get the running game going. We got Luke Braun, who's live, getting out of the parking lot at SoFi. Luke, you were there.
Worst call I've ever seen. Worst call I've ever. That was worse than the no call. At least you could say that maybe they just thought the ball was further than it was on that. That was awful.
Terrible.
I mean, they're looking right at it. Hand on face mask took him down by it.
Man,
no flag, no review. Can't do that. Can't ask East Coast dads to wait 60 more seconds to get a call like that right so that we can actually get this game right. Nope. Got to be a 2-score loss, 30-20. Congrats, Rams. Congrats, everybody who had Rams. Minus 2.5. Did it.
Shades of Teddy Bridgewater, no face mask call, Thursday Night Football versus the Cardinals. We talked about that game on the Minnesota Football Party. Go check that out. Luke, offensively, man, and by the way, sounds like a sea of purple there, about 65% purple, which you love to hear. But offensively, they come out just firing on all cylinders, 2 touchdowns on the first 2 drives. Then you got 50 minutes of football that was played after those first 2 opening drives. And, the offensive wizard KOC, you got the number 1 receiver in the game, JJ. That offense in 50 minutes scored 6 points against one of the worser defenses in the league, no less. A punt, kneel down, your last 3 possessions going into halftime. Both of those, the 2 that mattered anyways, subtracting the kneel down going into halftime. 3 and outs. Second half really wasn't any better. I mean, couple chunk plays here and it. I get it. You can't score every drive. You're not going to score every drive. But statistically, that Rams defense has been, really, all in all, they've been getting shredded all year. And the Vikings, again, they moved the ball well enough to score in the first 2 drives. But all of a sudden, here come the penalties again, just like the Detroit game. 7 penalties.
Get on the line of scrimmage, man.
Dude,
you don't beat anybody out when you can't get in a freaking formation.
Procedural penalties, guys. This is day
coached.
one training camp stuff. 9 penalties in all. Rams even declined a few. Luke, offensively, what'd you see out there?
I saw opportunities. I think dominant performance from Justin Jefferson, and sometimes that can just be your whole day.
Yeah.
But 2 major things. 1, penalties completely unacceptable. Just completely unacceptable. You cannot, expect to win a game when you can't get lined up and you can't get your snap counts right. I mean, how many of these are procedural? And this has been all year long. Get it together, dudes. Figure out how to do a snap count on 1 or on 2. It's not that freaking hard.
Dude,
And
4
2,
procedural
Sam Darnold, stop running
ahead.
backwards.
Yeah,
Stop running backwards.
That was tough too. You got to
He
step
had it
up,
on
man.
that last major sack. He had a check down. He had it.
Yep.
He could have flipped that thing to Aaron Jones. He could have put it right at his ankles, gone to third down. Instead, he runs backwards and takes a 15-yard sack. Who are you, Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
What is this, 2021 Justin Fields? Get out of here, dude.
Yeah, you got to step up. Better pocket awareness for sure. Heard the footsteps. He crumbled a little bit. Sam, offensively, procedural penalties, I mean, all echo the same thing. Because it happened 5 days ago versus Detroit, 4 procedural penalties versus Detroit. That shot him in the foot. It stalled out a lot of good drives. And then tonight you do it again. Again, 9 penalties, 7 in the first half. Even had a couple declined. Offensively, though, what'd you see from the Vikes?
Yeah, I saw immaculate execution for 2 drives, and then let's look at how the rest of the drives in the game were derailed. And the Vikings didn't have the ball that much in this game because the Rams just controlled the clock, controlled the drives so often. But those 2 drives in the first half had a penalty on first down, procedural penalty, set them behind the chains. They never recovered. All right, punt. Next drive, they go sack first, then penalty. So it's 2nd and 25. Weren't going to recover from that either. Too many big sacks by Sam Darnold. Second half, 2 field goal drives. Naylor drop. The Naylor drop will haunt this game. If they're able to take the lead there, it changes the complexion. I thought Sam Darnold should have just run for the first down, but Naylor catch the ball. That was bad. Kept him behind. Rams then go on the back-breaking touchdown drive. And then again, chance to tie the game. You get the ball around midfield. Huge sack by Sam Darnold. The spin away from the pressure move, it's not working. It's not working the way that he hopes it will. I'm much more perturbed by the defense in this game than I am the offense. I mean, I think the offense has stuff to clean up. Defense, though, I got 8 numbers for you. 70, 70, 70, 70, 69, 83, 72, 70. Those are the touchdown drive lengths against the Vikings the last 2 weeks. That's why I'm upset, because those are long drives and the Vikings not able to do a thing against them.
Ron,
a happy person in the background.
Yeah, somebody's loving it. Ron, somebody's loving our misery right now. Ron, I don't even like, this isn't even like tangible, good substance stuff to even bring up, but only reason I'm bringing it up is because there were so many penalties tonight again. Short week, obviously. West Coast trip. I don't think anybody wants to put the L on that tonight, but I guess just why, as a former player, why do you think they were so out of sync? I don't want to go to bed tonight putting it on a short week, had to travel to L.A., blah, 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 all those weak excuses, but so many inexcusable penalties. I guess, did that play a factor at all tonight or not really?
No, I mean, it's just like penalties are all like mental. It has nothing to do. Their effort was there. I think Christian Darrisaw going down, though, that's going to be a big piece to look forward to moving forward. Questenberry is definitely not him at all. Like, you could see that. Other than that, I think the biggest changes were the biggest difference is the Rams made the plays when they had to make them down the stretch. Matthew Stafford made the passes. The guys made the catches. I think Sam hit the nail on the head with Jalen Naylor. You catch that ball, we're probably talking about a different game right now. And, those are just plays that have to be made. Some of the DBs, same thing. It's just like, stay on your feet. Like, play through the ball. Play through the play. Like, it just Stephon Gilmore to me seemed like he was trying and reaching a little bit too much. But no, I can't put that on. Like, again, lining up in the wrong spot. That's just a small mental error. Not knowing what the play is. Maybe and I get it. You don't want to waste the time out there. But there has to be a better way to get the play, because this is, I think, you can't see my hands, but he just had his hands up. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, somebody at the end of the day, get on the line of scrimmage. Like, who cares if you don't know what to do? If you don't know what to do, get on the line of scrimmage and just run a go route. Like, if anything, like, or ask the next person, what's the play? That a lot of that to me was it was strange.
Well, that's why, again, I think you nailed it when you said they're just mental errors, but that's why I go back to a short week, not as many days to prep, again, long West Coast trip. It just very inexcusable. Like, that's day 1 training camp stuff. And to come out in week 7 now, where are we at? Week 8? Where are we at? Week 8?
Week 8.
And come out and for the second week in a row, not fix those basically shooting yourself in the foot penalties that cost you over and over again. Just absolutely unexcusable. Lots more to get into. We'll get into the coach's corner. Plus, we got to do a deep dive on this defense as well. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Z-Biotics. It's pre-alcohol by Z-Biotics, the world's first genetically engineered probiotic that was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into toxic byproduct in your gut, and it's that byproduct, not dehydration, to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotic, though, produces an enzyme to break down those bad byproducts. All you got to do is remember to take Z-Biotics, your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and it'll have you feeling your best tomorrow. Step 1, drink Z-Biotics. Step 2, drink responsibly. Pace yourself. Stay hydrated. Step 3, enjoy the next day, waking up feeling refreshed. Right now, go to zbiotics.com/LockedOnNFL. You get 15% off your first order. Again, that's zbiotics.com/LockedOn to get 15% off your first order. Z-Biotics, it's backed with their 100% money-back guarantee. If you're unsatisfied for any reason, they're refunding your money. No questions asked. zbiotics/LockedOnNFL. Use code LockedOnNFL for 15% off your first order. By the way, guys, teams that play the Lions the following week, you always lose 6 times in a row. It's happened now. Defensively, we got to do a little deep dive on this because after being number 1 in the league in points allowed per game, now in back-to-back weeks in 5 days, they've given up 60.61 points in 5 days. 0, and I mean 0 pass rush on Stafford tonight. A day 3 rookie center starting, and next to him at left guard, you got a UDFA starting. So again, a day 3 rookie center starting and a UDFA left guard. And we're not talking about like Tyler Lindenbaum here, a first-round center. I think I counted 3 pressures on Stafford all night. I guess we'll get the official numbers here in a second. But even with all those blitzes, Ron, and to only get 1 pressure from the interior, combine that with all the penalties we just talked about, big third down, the money downs as KOC always calls them, you make a stop, you do the hard part, here comes a flag. Boy, really frustrating, but I think what I'm keying in on this week during this mini bye is there's got to be more pressure, and guys got to start winning one-on-one down in the trenches.
Yeah, so I said, I wish they would play more coverage and not go after, the blitz so much. And it just, even like trying to play coverage, it just felt like the coverages. And again, I think the touchdown to Demarcus Robinson, the corner route, Harrison Smith just got nosy. Harrison Smith wasn't really watching him. That's an easy for a quarterback like Matthew Stafford to look to his left and be like, you know what, they're playing zone. I know this corner route's there. And at the last minute, you see him look and throw the ball. Like little stuff like that is what's frustrating. Is like, why are you worried about, if you're the backside safety in Harrison Smith, you can't be worried about what's going on over there with Kupp and Puka Nacua. And Stafford was great at it. I broke down those plays in the pregame show, and I had 4 plays. And every single time he runs some type of like bunch set, he always motions. Every single time he wants to motion just to give him a little bit of an idea of what coverage you might be running. Then he'll double motion and like fake motion and double motion back. And what he's trying to do is get somebody on that defense to tell him, here's what we're doing. And the Vikings, I assume, would have like a better plan where it's like you run with the guy just to go stay in your zone. Like you kind of plan it out, like saying, look, I know they're going to motion. So let me throw a guy over here and pre-snap. If you don't feel like he's going to motion, you just got to start getting ready to migrate over there. But hey, if you're on this side, you're this side, you run zone. If you motion across, you now run zone from there, and you go, like you got to have some type of checks to alleviate Matthew Stafford's motions. And it seemed like Flores did not have it. I know it was a short week. It's tough to plan for all that. But yeah, just the secondary to me, like you gotta, it's not just about 4. Like you got to be able to cover when they were dropping 7, they still were getting beat, and that was very strange.
Yeah, we talked about it. I brought it up on the football party this morning. Rams run 72% of pre-snap motion, by far number one in the league. You got to be prepared for that. I don't know if this is a Blake Cashman thing, Ivan Pace thing. I don't know if Blake Cashman being out again has really hurt them in back-to-back weeks or what. Ivan Pace wearing the green dot. Again, I think he's started like 12 games now in his career. Maybe there's something going on with some communication stuff. I don't know, but to your point, Ron, you're right. Too many wide open guys. I don't care if it's a short week. You got to have eyes on guys like Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Sam, are you kind of on the same page as far as the pressure goes? Are you more leaning with Ron as far as just the back end coverage goes? Right now, I suppose you could pick either one and really run with it right now. It's been very frustrating the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, the interior defensive line, which was a big concern for everybody going into the season. I think that you're feeling that a bit in that occasionally you'll get a good pass rush from Harrison Phillips. Nothing from Tillery. Nothing from Bullard. Who else are they even trying to rush on the interior? There's not a lot there with their down linemen. Grenard is having a fantastic year. Other than that, there's not a lot of consistent pressure getters. Like on money downs, Van Ginkel even isn't getting home as much. Dallas Turner's had 2 more penalties tonight. He's done nothing, and he's actually, regressed seemingly as the season's gone on. Patrick Jones had that hot start. He's come back to earth. So other than Grenard, there's not a lot of consistent pressure being applied. They tried to blitz Pace a ton tonight, and they blocked it up really well. And they've got great blocking receivers, good blocking tight ends. That's part of the Rams' MO. And they also had to deal with Kupp and Nacua both healthy in this game. I mean, we didn't think we'd see Nacua this morning, and suddenly he's out there and he's touching the ball every time in the first half, it seemed like. And they weren't ready for it. Nobody is savvier than Cooper Kupp at finding the spot to be in a zone look. And Nacua did that as well in this game, and they picked him apart. And this defense, the secondary in particular, is going to have to do a lot of soul searching, but there's no marriage between the coverage and the rush right now. Neither of them are carrying their weight.
Yeah. Again, I'll give them, I guess you'd call it a pass last week versus Detroit. That's the best offensive line in the league, hands down. Sure, a couple other teams you could talk about, the Chiefs and whatnot. This Rams offensive line, guys, 60% backups. 3 out of the 5 starters tonight were backups. Joe Noteboom didn't come back. I know he was kind of a game time decision. Just no excuse for the lack of pass rush, especially with this Flores exotic looks. And again, the cat and mouse game of showing blitz, dropping back in coverage. 3 pressures. Here's the official stat, and this is by Kevin Stiefert. 3 pressures on 28 dropbacks on Matt Stafford. That was 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Maybe they got 1 or 2 more pressures in the fourth quarter. Even if they did, who cares? Not enough to really affect that game. You guys brought up Puka Nacua, and Ron, I just want to ask you as a former player who's played in the league, how much of an impact did that have? Like when a star wideout of a team announces he's going to be playing just an hour or 2 before kickoff, I think everybody knew Cooper Kupp was playing. He's going to make his long-awaited return. Okay, got that. But to get Puka back just hours before the game, that I think surprised some people. So from like a game plan standpoint, when you build your game plan around one offense with a certain set of skill players and personnel, etc., and then all of a sudden they throw in another Pro Bowler just like that, do you think that put the Vikings defense on their heels just enough and made them change some things up on the fly that just didn't work tonight?
No, I mean, you plan for everything. So, if you're a coach, this team has been explosive with those 2 in. You prepare for it because, for Puka, it had been 8 weeks 7 weeks since he had played. He hadn't played since week 1 since week 1. And then for Kupp, he hasn't played since week 2 and basically left in the middle of the game in week 2. So you knew that Cooper Kupp was coming off, potentially going to be back for this game. And then I think Puka Nacua was coming off of IR, if I'm not mistaken, and so you knew that was potential as well. So no, you prepare for those 2.
Short week though, Ron. I mean, only a couple days to prepare though, so that's a big wild card though. No.
Yeah, but you look at Matthew Stafford's 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions before those 2 are on the field. I think he's like you got to come back. I don't care if you got 1 foot. I need you out there. And you saw why. Like early on, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp just play at a different speed. They are on the same page. For a guy to be a second-year guy, it feels like we've been saying Puka Nacua's name forever, but it's only been a year. Like last year was his first year and the dude like burst onto the scene with like over 100 catches as a rookie. So when you think about that, he's 6'2", 200 plus pounds. He can run, and he uses his body well. He's hard to tackle too. Like they use him in the screen game, they use him in the blocking game, but they do a lot of influence routes. And I did that in the pregame, and they basically, their influence route, quote unquote, is what they do is they'll have the first guy runs at the DB, not guarding him. He doesn't touch him. He just kind of looks at him as if like, okay, I just want to be in your way. The second guy runs like the flat. If that guy cheats fast or another guy cheats, the next guy runs like the in route, and then vice versa. They'll run a guy, the inside guy runs an influence on the outside guy, next guy runs a dig or a drag, and the next guy runs a dig behind it. And so they do a lot of real cool concepts, and the refs don't, I mean, they never touch the defender, so they don't call it. But when you have Puka and Cooper in the game, those concepts hit a different level. Like it's a totally different level than like if you watch like the Raiders game. You watch the Rams against the Raiders without those two.
Yeah. Oh,
it looks nothing.
It
looks nothing like what we saw today. And so the Vikings, unfortunately, because if you were heading into this game without those two, they get absolutely destroyed. But you add those two into the mix, the Rams are a good team. Like you can't lie, they're a good team.
Yeah, 100%, Ron. Cooper Kupp, just to echo what you're saying, maybe the best choice route runner in the NFL as well, too. You get all three of those guys healthy, and then maybe Tyler Higbee as well, the way Kyron Williams is running the ball. You get a couple old linemen back. I'm looking at the Rams' schedule. Who knows? They could do exactly what they did last year, start out super cold, end up winning 8 of 9 to end the season, and they end up sneaking into the playoffs. Great playoff game, by the way, in the first round versus the Lions last year, if you guys remember that. What's because this was a one possession game outside of that safety at the very end. What's one play or one thing you want back the most right now, Sam? Like which play or call are you going to be waking up tomorrow thinking about and just shaking your head? Because we always talk about these close games against good teams come down to 2, 3, 4 plays most of the time, most weeks. Which play is just eating you alive right now? Is it the Jalen Nailor one?
Yeah, Jalen Nailor drop. I mean, I think certainly you also had 5 defensive penalties that resulted in first downs.
Yeah.
How many of those were on third down?
A lot.
Right? There were at least 2.
I think it was 4. At least 4. Yeah.
There was one that bailed the Rams out of a 2nd and 11. Mm-hmm. And those 2 on third down, I want to say it was the first touchdown drive, maybe the second touchdown drive for LA.
Well, 3rd and goal, to your point, from the 10, Stafford has to essentially throw the ball away because that was one of the 3 pressures we had. It goes a mile over Cooper Kupp's head. I'm surprised they didn't call it uncatchable. Gilmore gets called for this ticky-tack weak.
Marginal.
Very marginal. 2 plays later, to your point, Sam, Cooper Kupp touchdown.
Yeah. There was a hands to the face call that was probably legit. Again, there was another kind of very light handhold by Byron Murphy on Kupp. So they caught the Vikings with the marginal stuff, the stuff that happens every game that goes uncalled, and they miss the face mask in the end zone. I'm pretty sure if I could lip read, that's what Kevin O'Connell was telling the ref, and they showed it a couple times. He's saying, you call the lightest penalty on our guys on that end, and you miss the most blatant face mask in the history of football on the other end. So blatant, in fact, that if you watch the replay, multiple Rams were going, oh, like they knew it was a penalty. The guy who committed the face mask knew it was a penalty, and it doesn't get called, and it's not reviewable. And this is just another one of those examples. It's something that like might even change a rule in the NFL, like things like that. Maybe they will become reviewable because of calls like this. That's how egregious that was. But I think the Nailor drop, the face mask call, those are the 2 that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, 100%. A couple minutes left. I know Ron's got to go here soon. We'll talk some mini buy list to-dos. Plus, we got the Colts. They're on deck. That's all coming up right after this. A quick reminder, tonight's episode also brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, and now for a limited time, FanDuel's giving you a chance at a huge return, $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed with your first $5 wager. When you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, you can view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same exact page where you place in your bets. And again, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com. Get in on some Sunday night football action while you're there. We got Cowboys at Niners this week. Current line, San Fran by 4.5. Over-under sitting at 45.5. It's all up over at FanDuel.com. Again, check it all out over at FanDuel.com and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed with your first $5 wager. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and official sportsbook partner of the NFL. By the way, always do a full deep dive on every game on the Football Party with our guy Arif Hassan. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, keep up with all the action. That's every Monday, every Thursday. Ron, I got to bring this up because at least 15 to 20% of the comments are chirping about they got to make a trade for a defensive tackle and get some sort of interior pass rush going on. We're 5-2. You look at the schedule coming up, which we'll get into here in a minute. Pretty soft. Should be able to rally back after a mini bye and go on a run. We'll preview all that here in a sec. But a trade deadline coming up in 12 days. Any chance the Vikings, or in your opinion, if you're Kwesi in the front office room, are you calling everybody, all 31 teams, and saying, is there Jeffrey Simmons available? Is Dexter Lawrence available? We need something because we can't go another 9 more games with the defensive tackles we got.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it's not about the defensive tackles. It's the corners. And so if there's a way to get a corner, I say you try to go do it. But other than that, that's it. But I will say before I get out of here, the play, because Sam didn't say it, but the plays that are going to stick with me are going to be Sam Darnold, instead of throwing it to Jalen Naylor, maybe try to go get the first down with his legs. And then the sack that should have happened and ended up being a touchdown. Jonathan Gennard forces him out. Harrison Phillips misses and doesn't wrap up, and then he throws a touchdown. So I'm going to look back at those 2 plays and say they go a different way. Again, the Vikings win these games. Like, it is what it is. But you know what? I'm looking forward to tomorrow being on the Friday roundtable, because we'll have to dive into this a bunch tomorrow.
Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe and follow Ron Johnson on X if you're not already, at 3Ron Johnson. Sam, what do you think?
How about I was going to add one more play.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I haven't even gotten to this yet.
Yeah, go ahead.
How about the meaningless run that results in the Darrisaw knee injury?
Oh, why are you not kneeling that? If you're just going to run it anyways, or is it because they were so close to the goal line? You didn't want to flirt with the safety, perhaps? I don't know.
It's one knee. One knee from the 3. Certainly you can get that done.
Oh, 100%. You're right. Was it from the 3 and they only needed one play?
Yeah, one, right. I mean, worst case, the Rams took a timeout. You make 2 knees, but I can't.
Woof.
I'm not. I think a lot of teams would probably run a play there and not take the knee. And
3 timeouts, I know it's kind of tempting to, like, we got 3 timeouts. Maybe if we rip off a 10-yard draw play, maybe. But obviously easy in hindsight, too. We should talk about that real quick. Ripple effect. Who knows what's going to happen? Didn't look great. By the way, where's the cart? Where's the cart guy? They showed Darrisaw limping all the way into the locker room tunnel.
The trainers are like, this guy's $3 bills. Give me some help.
They need 5 guys. Yeah, they need the entire team over there to help him hobble all the way back. That was killing
what's Harrison Phillips doing? Help him out, Harrison.
Come on, man. I know, he just a little quick pat on the back. $5 billion industry. We don't have one extra cart lying around. What's going on? That was killing me, man. But ripple effect, man. I don't know. And again, mini bye. I'm sure that thing's going to be sore. It's going to be inflamed. Who knows? Knock on wood, 2 to 4 weeks situation. That's like best case for me. I'm hoping. You just don't want to hear out for the year, obviously. But regardless, short-term, long-term, doesn't matter either way. Quessenberry, maybe Walter Rouse from Oklahoma, the rookie 6th-round tackle. Either way, you're talking about one of the best left tackles in the game. What's the ripple effect there?
Yeah. All right. So first of all, KOC addressed this and said they don't have confirmation. They're hoping for good news. So I guess it's good that he didn't say they suspect an ACL. Sometimes coaches will say that it doesn't look good, and he didn't go that far. But I think in this case, good news is probably like a sprained MCL. Like we're talking about 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And the way the Vikings handle their star players with injuries, it might be 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Like I think best case scenario is he comes back at some point this season. I'd be surprised if it's next week after seeing what we saw and how quickly he was ruled out. So here's my ripple effect.
I just want to say, to your point, DK Metcalf sprained his MCL last week versus, I can't remember who, but he was carted off as well. Everybody thought, oh no, they thought the worst, out for the year. Sure enough, it was just an MCL, to your point. Go ahead.
Yeah, and you know, it is the mini bye, and if they get really lucky, we'll see. I guess I'm not a doctor, but here's my ripple effect. I am bringing Dalton Reisner back for the Colts game. I'm putting him at left guard. I'm moving Blake Brandle, who's been arguably your best interior lineman. I'm moving him to left tackle where he's played before.
Sure.
And might have a higher upside than David Quessenberry, who I think is probably a very good, tackle in a pinch. I don't know if you want him to be your long-term left tackle. I would put Reisner, and again, Reisner comfortable at left guard. I would move Brandle to left tackle. That's my ripple effect. Try to keep this offensive line strong.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense, just knee-jerk reaction. Again, game ended 20 minutes ago. We're still trying to digest all this right now, but I think that makes a lot of sense. Blake Brandle started at left tackle. I think it was in the Dallas game last year. Granted, they got blown out at home, but he has had snaps, valuable, real reps under his belt at left tackle. You already know the ceiling. You already know what you're getting with Quessenberry. Nice to have a warm body back there as that sixth man, but certainly I think that would be one of the advantages as well. Everybody's been clamoring, or some people have been clamoring for Dalton Reisner to get on the field anyways. Maybe this is that quick shuffle that you do, move some guys around, and get your best 5 guys out there for sure. Do you think, I'm just thinking about, okay, the Rams bring in not only Cooper Kupp, but Puka hours before kickoff. The Vikes decide to pump the brakes and be really passive with this TJ Hawkinson thing. We're not doctors, as you said. We don't know. But boy, it felt like, again, for the second week in a row, it would have been awfully nice to have TJ Hawkinson out there helping move the chains, helping move the sticks on some critical third downs, and just in general with the offense. I'm not going to say that was the difference in the game, but I wonder if we look back on that and say, man, it sure would have been nice to have TJ Hawkinson versus not having him and going against a guy like Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, man, because that was just brutal. I asked Ron this. I just want your quick one-word answer. If you were to trade a first-round pick, let's just say, would you rather go get an interior defensive tackle, or would you rather go get a cornerback? Obviously, it depends on who it is, but let's just say face value, pretty even all the way around.
I would get a cornerback, but I'd like to have some team control for a couple of years because all of their cornerbacks are expiring. Cornerback, I mean, I guess I don't really know who you bench at this point. I know people in the comments are really upset with Gilmore. I'm not ready to give up on Gilmore yet after a couple games. I think that he's faced some really tough tests the past 2 weeks, and he's not been good. I'm also not willing to mail in anyone's season after these 2 games. I think cornerback's probably a little more valuable, but the interior rush, like, can we play the Levi Drake Rodriguez card? Can we bring like Taki Taimani? Can we get some other bodies in there that are able to move the pocket? Because I'm not getting it from Jerry Tillery. I'm not getting it from Jonathan Bullard. I would like just a little change up after this mini bye. And again, that trade deadline's coming up, I believe, after week 9.
Yes,
it's the
Tuesday,
election
3 o'clock.
Day. It's election day.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I low-key, I just see everybody venting in the comments section. And by the way, much appreciated, all you guys coming on here and venting with us. I think they've low-key really, really missed Blake Cashman these last 2 games. Again, Ivan Pace can hold his own, but some, especially a young missile like that dude just wants to fly around and go make plays. The green dot, whole nother animal, man. And Flores, exotic looks, the cat and mouse game, pre-snap, post-snap, making all those checks and calls for the entire defense. I think getting Blake Cashman back actually is going to make a huge
Have you
difference.
noticed too that they've chosen to go small?
Yes.
In lieu of putting Kamu Grugier-Hill in for a lot of these snaps, they're just going with Metellus.
Yeah.
And maybe that goes a little ways in explaining the big rushing performances the last 2 weeks against them. Ivan Pace got outsmarted on a number of plays in this game. Also gave up the first touchdown.
It's a lot on your plate against McVay. And that 72%
Mm-hmm.
pre-snap motion, that's a lot on a young guy. He hasn't even played, 13 official starts. He's played in a full season of games, but he doesn't have a lot of starts under his belt. And you're totally right to your point, Sam. Sean McVay will get you, man. Oh, we got a young, the young pup who loves to play ultra aggressive, maybe overshoot some gaps at times. He's got the green dot this week. Yeah, let's see if there's a mismatch there and try to exploit that as well. So you're totally right.
Yeah, how about the Couple observations on offense.
Yeah.
How about Ty Chandler getting completely iced out?
Iced. Nothing.
0 touches, 0 snaps.
For Aaron Jones to be dealing with a hammy and a hip, and like you said on the football party after I made my bet, short week, and all of a sudden Aaron Jones gets all, 22, 23 touches on the night. No Ty Chandler whatsoever. Let me ask you this, Sam. How come Jordan Addison just disappears so much for being obviously very talented? He made a great effort play to get a first down when there was 3 Rams trying to tackle him on a big third down play. He's clearly talented. You know Justin Jefferson's being double bracketed every single play. How come Jordan Addison just disappears or doesn't get the 5, 6, 7 targets like a lot of other first round or talented number 2 receivers in a very pass-happy league that we're in?
Yeah, targets this year 4 or less in 4 of his 5 games.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like enough. This is one of those all 22 questions that you need to go and watch the film and say, is he getting separation? Is Sam Darnold overlooking him? Is he tunnel visioning on Justin Jefferson? Because this was a game where when Justin Jefferson gets his the way he did, it's a little less of a problem. But you'd like to have one person, and this is probably the TJ Hawkinson conundrum again. You'd like to have one person other than Jefferson with more than 2 catches. And tonight it was nobody. They schemed something up for Sherfield. They had to scheme something up for Josh Oliver, who scored touchdowns early. Addison, 2 catches tonight. The Hawkinson thing, you brought it up. Hawkinson thing, it bothers me that they're so intent on getting through the entire window. They're eating up the whole 21-day window because it clearly was their plan to do so. But can't you have just a pitch count even? Can't we see 30 to 35 snaps of the guy and then give him a week and a half to recover from this game? This would have made so much sense to me. This is what the Rams did. The Rams brought their guys back when they knew they had a break coming up. And I wish the Vikings had done that. Clearly they wanted to give Hawkinson max time to heal, so they had a plan. They stuck to it. It's frustrating when he's been practicing for 3 weeks now.
Is this team closer to the 2016 Sam Bradford started 5-0 and all of a sudden just the wheels fall off and everything just, went to absolute crap? Or is this team closer to, okay, just played 2 really good teams? I know the Rams were 2-4, but again, you get Puka and Cooper Kupp back and a healthy Stafford, completely different team. Still can gripe about that young, inexperienced offensive line they should have exposed. But you just played 2 really good teams in 5 days, short week, West Coast trip. Again, played the Lions, and everybody who plays the Lions always lose. And you can, after a mini bye with this soft schedule, rally back, make the playoffs, get double-digit wins. Which team is this closer to of those 2 kind of comparisons?
Well, that last 5-0 team, the 2016 group, they had no offense.
And they also lost a couple left tackles, too, which, by the way, we might have lost a left tackle tonight.
Oh,
but
look out.
You're right.
Kevin O'Connell better get some safety goggles on.
Oh, no. What week do we play in Soldier? If we're November 14th? Okay.
What? It's windy there.
Yeah.
Protect your eyes from the play sheet. Yeah. This team's different from that. That team lost 4 in a row after starting 5-0. And there were some weird similarities in like the takeaway. They were due for takeaway regression, right? Like these Vikings and those Vikings had an inordinate amount of takeaways through 5 games, scoring off of those takeaways, pick sixes, fumble recoveries for touchdowns. That can't continue for a full season. It just doesn't over a 17-game slate.
Yeah.
And by the way, I mean, the Vikings did have 1 takeaway tonight. Now KOC on a 2-game losing streak. When he wins or is even in the take give
We're
after
crumbling.
22 in a row.
All our fun stats
that.
And streaks are crumbling.
Final thought on this. This was the end of the gauntlet, right? We circled the gauntlet. It was like weeks 2 through 8 of this season. Gauntlet schedule. Mm-hmm. You finished it 5-2. Now you feel awful. You're going to feel awful for 10 days. You're going to watch all the football this Sunday, all the football next Sunday, and you still won't have played again. Like a lot is going to happen in the league between now and next Sunday night. And it's going to feel like everyone's overlooked you. Like people are going to pass you in the standings. It's going to feel like your time is done. But we got to talk about this schedule, Luke. It gets so much softer, so much more manageable. You're through the gauntlet. You should be as battle-tested as you get. If you can figure out this defense and play some quarterbacks that are maybe not quite as adept as Matt Stafford and Jared Goff, you've got an opportunity now, I think, to put a winning streak together, get to 8-2 through 10 games, and suddenly we're talking Super Bowl again.
Yeah, well said. Colts, Jags, Titans. Then you play your first game versus the Bears at Soldier. Who knows what the Bears look in 4 more weeks, but Colts, Jags, Titans, the AFC South, absolutely a chance to go on a little run. Let's do a quick look ahead to the Colts. A rematch of the greatest comeback in the history of the NFL, and now a game they flexed to Sunday Night Football as well. Anthony Richardson is on my fantasy team, so trust me when I say this, Sam. Dude's completely lost right now. When it comes to just the basic fundamentals of playing quarterback and running an NFL offense, I know we'll do a deep dive on him next week on the Football Party, but he's got a long ways to go. He needs to simplify things. He needs to slow everything down, and a lot of that is coaching as well. But I got to imagine Flores is salivating at his chance to throw the kitchen sink at him and force him to respond a little bit pre-snap and post-snap, the things that he struggles with right now. But Vikes, Colts, out of the mini bye, what's the first thing that you think of, or first thing that intrigues you the most 10 days from now with that matchup?
Yeah, I think the Colts strike me as a paper tiger. They are very 2022 Vikings-esque in that they've played only one-possession games. They lost by 2, lost by 6, won by 5, won by 3, lost by 3, won by 3, won by 6. They're playing the Texans this week. That could be another L, so they could be 4-4 coming into that game. These are high school stats from the quarterback, and I'm not suggesting he's a high school level talent, but 49 of 101 for a completion percentage of 48.5%, 3 TDs, 6 interceptions. Like when I'm calling Burnsville football in 2017, these are the stats of the quarterbacks, right? Like this is a historically bad start from an accuracy standpoint from a quarterback. Still got Jonathan Taylor, and Anthony Richardson can use his legs, so they've got ways to beat you other than through the air. Josh Downs is a good player, but this should be an amazing chance for Brian Flores and that defense to get right.
This is a tough spot because it's so obvious how much better, if you actually have watched any Colts games this year, it's so obvious how much better Joe Flacco is playing quarterback than him right now. It's not even funny, but everybody knew when he came out, Richardson only played 17 games in college at Florida. The only way he's truly going to learn and grow is getting real reps and just playing the game, right? Kind of trial by fire, so to speak. Uber talented, a ball of just raw traits, but he's still a long way from putting it all together. He'll give you one insane SportsCenter top 10 highlight play, one play, very next play, he'll take a sack or throw a boneheaded interception. So it's got to be tough, is my point, for Colts fans watching Flacco come in, give him a chance to win every week, because that's the point of playing games. You want to win, but you know you're committed to developing Richardson, and that just means you got to keep playing the dude no matter how ugly it is, because they're kind of pot committed at this point. Use a top 10 pick on a dude, a quarterback no less. They're pot committed and need him to pan out to obviously get a return on their investment for sure. 30 seconds, 60 seconds. You want to empty the clip here? Anything else as far as your takeaways, your notes go, or anything else? It's tough 30 minutes after the game. There's so much I'm going to go to bed tonight thinking about. But yeah, go ahead. Empty the clip here before we get out of here.
Yeah. So are we just going to carry this over into the Wolves postcast, by the way? Because that game's almost done now.
Oh, boy. Haven't even looked at the score. How ugly is that game?
They are down by 3 with 8 minutes to go.
We better get out of here and check.
Promotion, though, Wolves postcast. We do it almost every game. Probably not tonight.
Absolutely.
But the Dallas Turner thing continues to be a disappointment. I mean, some people have gotten snarky about him now. And the snap counts for Turner started at 38-ish, went down to 18, then 11, then 4. And I don't know what the count was in this game. He was on the field when he shouldn't have been, a 12th man on the field, committed a special teams penalty. So that was his game again. The 3, I thought about this week when I was texting a buddy. Your top 3 quasi draft picks in 3 drafts combined.
Boy.
My number 1 is Jordan Addison, who's struggling right now. Number 2, Will Reichard. Number 3, Jalen Naylor, who dropped the ball today.
Woof.
Hard to find anyone to crack that. Like the drafts have not worked out.
Ivan Pace, UDFA. Doesn't
And I'm not counting the UDFA.
Yeah.
So he'd be on the list. But where's Dallas Turner? Let's get him going.
Yeah, it's pretty weak. So let me ask you this here before we get out of here. You're 7, or what do we got here? So 7 games down. Yeah, 7 games down, 10 to go. You get the mini bye. Hawkinson getting his legs back, hopefully, right? Finally, the return of Hawkinson. Hopefully, that makes a huge difference all the way around. Blake Cashman hopefully gets healthy. When you think about these first 7 games, and like you said, nobody thought we were going to be 5-2. We should be thrilled at this point if we go back and talk to our old preseason selves. But when you think about everything that's transpired these first 7 games, let's just say you're at TCL right now and you're talking to KOC. What's the number one thing you're pounding the table for as far as just a mid-season tweak adjustment you've seen them struggle with so much? Because, again, we're almost at the halfway mark. So this is your last mini bye on the schedule. No more, no, I don't believe, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. No more Thursday games on the schedule. So you got a free extra few days to kind of collect your thoughts, let the dust settle, and regroup before things really start to ramp up in November, in December, when we get into crunch time. What's the number one thing you're pounding the table for if you're talking to KOC?
Yeah, I'm probably telling him, hey, is there a way to simplify this offense a bit as the game goes on? Are you trying to do too much? Are you trying to bite off these big chunk plays? Can we just move the chains? Can we get Sam Darnold out of these big dropbacks? Can we continue the positive momentum that you gain in the first quarter? Because something's happening as the game goes along, and it happened again today, where the offense stagnates. And I think now through 7 games, we can consider this a problem that we saw in Green Bay, we saw against New York, we saw against Detroit. We've seen it arguably 4 games in a row. The Texans game, I'll say, didn't really matter because you were so far ahead. But got to find a way to sustain your offense. We saw the Lions and the Rams in consecutive weeks prove it's possible to have a steady offense approach for basically the duration of the game. So that's something to shoot for and something to humble KOC to say, you're a good offensive mind. You're maybe not a great offensive mind yet. And we've seen what Darnold can do, but let's set him up for success.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see some more up-tempo stuff. By the way, one more play I'm just thinking of, the sick SportsCenter top 10 Justin Jefferson catch on the sideline. They went to a hurry-up offense, and I get it. You don't know if that's getting reversed or not, but it was a clean catch. They hurry up to the line, which I've been begging. Let's get some more hurry-up. Maybe not in that situation, though, because the first play, 1st and goal, you do a quick toss just to get the snap off. I get it. But can we not lose 4 yards on a wide toss to Aaron Jones and set yourself up 4 yards backwards, and now you only got 2 more cracks at the end zone? A lot of little plays. Again, you just look at the game script and the way the Vikings shot themselves in the foot so much. By the way, talking about the strength of the schedule here, the rest of the way, Bears literally have the toughest route to go. Number 1 toughest schedule in all of football from here on out. So who knows what the Bears look like in 4 weeks. Packers, Lions, not only do they play each other in week 10, so in 2 weeks, but both have top 10 toughest schedules from here on out as well. Vikes, on the other hand, top 10 easiest from here on out. Colts, Jags, Titans, Bears. You're disappointed if you even go 2-2, right? 3-1 has to be the bar there, right? Colts, Jags, Titans, Bears.
Remind me what the home and road situation is.
Colts
games.
at home, Jags on the road, Titans on the road, Bears on the road.
This is the
3-game road trip here. Yeah, because I know we're playing at Soldier, so it's a 3-game road trip.
Yeah. Still, well, I mean, I think the Jags game is another where you probably get a lot of purple in the stands. I mean, that you should go 3-0. You should win those 2. The road game at Soldier is where it gets tricky, but the 3 before that should be all Vikings. Should be.
Yeah, well said. I'm with you. Let's get out of here. Go check the end of this Wolves game out. Vikes 2 losses in 5 days. Final score in LA, 30-20. Hey, huge shout out to all the everydayers that always make us your first listen. So much appreciation for you guys. Check out Ron Johnson on the Ron Johnson Show. That's every Tuesday. Luke Braun, thanks for popping in. He's live at SoFi. He's always ripping it up over on Locked On Vikings. Sam, he hosts all of us on the Minnesota Football Party. Again, that's every Monday. It's every Thursday. Go like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And one more schedule announcement as well. Maryland versus the Ghosts this Saturday, 2:30 kickoff. Come join Ron Johnson and I on the postcast for that one as well after that game ends. That should be a good one. Gophers coming out of their bye as well. We'll see you right back here November 3rd, another Vikings postcast episode. Vikes Colts, Sunday Night Football. Should be another good one. But until then, signing out.